LinkedIn Live. This week we were talking about sales targets, big objectives. It's the time of year in some businesses as we move into May where leaders are starting to think about, how do I talk about this number that I've got to put across? It cascades across the organization into larger objectives, strategies that have to be implemented. And it's that big moment where it's kind of like, oh my goodness, how am I going to put this through? It's something a situation I've been in on a regular basis over the years. I spent 15 years working in medtech, 10 of those leading different businesses across a variety of different areas. And it's that moment where you take a big kind of breath and go, right, how am I going to convince these people that this number or this objective or this target is possible? This also really applies to even on a personal level, like big goals. When we look at them, they're huge. There's a reaction. And it's the fascinating thing I found about working with teams and working with individuals is that first moment where you're looking at something huge and you're thinking, how do I do this? That is not possible. That's going to be a stretch. When we start to talk about, particularly in a work situation, when there's performance metrics that are based around it and performance related pay, there can sometimes be like this pain reaction, which is like a feeling of loss, like the potential of like, I have to get there so I can get the things that I want. That can be really challenging. A very simple trick is to start thinking about what has to be true. So as opposed to sort of giving all the reasons and building the sort of potential of doing something, it's more around thinking, okay, to get to this number, to get to this objective, what has to be true? What do we have to achieve to make this happen? So it's not a case of saying, yes, we will get there, but it's more starting to break it down and looking at the different pillars potentially that will make that possible. It's something I used to use a lot, and I used to use it in two different ways. The first would be really with myself when I first saw the number, like it would be beyond potentially what I'd been given or what I'd put forward or the proposals I'd sort of had a strong rationale for. I was thinking, like, what has to be true for us to get there? And then it's the next bit, then moving into the team and asking the team, what has to be true for us to be able to achieve this number? There is going to be an initial reaction to it if it's a large number or a large objective. And the what has to be true piece really allows the thought process to be worked through of, okay, how would we get there? What are the things that would need to be done? What need to be in place? So it starts to surface those. And it's not saying that you're going to commit to it. It's just saying what would have to be true to make it happen. The next piece is like from a strategy perspective and putting it across to senior leadership is one of the ways we used to use it a lot is to turn around and say, right, this is what has to be true to get there. And you can do that with any objective or any goal that you're working with others, is that you can start to break that down and show how it is possible, what would have to be in place, what would be the things that happen. That shift in perspective allows to move through the initial resistance to something that's big, that's challenging, that creates fear, like that piece of potential loss or not being able to get the things you want, to a place of possibility where it's kind of like, okay, these are the things that we can put in place to get there. Once you shift to that type of thought process, it allows you to put things in place to make it happen and start to work towards it. It almost is breaking down that big goal or big objective or big number into smaller goals that you know when they come together will help you achieve that bigger piece. So next time you have a big number in front of you, next time, or a big objective, next time you have to put it across to a group of individuals or a wider team, really ask that question, what has to be true to make this happen? Then build from there. I hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to speaking to you next week. Have a good rest of the week.